Welcome to the Pixl Marketing Show, the podcast for real estate media pros who want to go from random acts of marketing to remarkable results. I'm your host, Pete Stagel, founder of PixlCRM and creator of the Pixl Marketing Method. And every week, we're diving into the systems, strategies, and real stories that help you attract better clients, retain them longer, and grow a real business. Let's get into it. Today, we're launching something special. Over the next several episodes, I'm going to walk you through the complete Pixl Marketing Method framework, all 9 steps that transform chaotic, unpredictable photography businesses into systematic growth machines. We're starting with something I see everywhere in our industry, photographers who are working their tails off but still can't seem to get ahead. They're posting constantly, sending desperate DMs, dropping their prices, and crossing their fingers that something will stick. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, you're probably caught in what I call the hustle trap. And today, we're going to break it down and show you the way out. This is random acts of marketing, and it might just change how you think about growing your business forever. Random acts of marketing, the hustle trap. You know the feeling. You're at your desk late at night, your inbox is dry, your calendar is light, and you're trying to figure out what the hell happened. Just a few weeks ago, you were slammed with shoots. Now, crickets. So you do what most of us do. Panic posts on Instagram. Maybe drop a last-minute discount. Shoot out a couple of DMs to agents you haven't talked to in months. Hell, maybe you even consider boosting a Facebook post just to get something out there. This is the hustle trap, and almost everyone falls into it at some point. At first, it feels like what you're supposed to do. Hustle culture is everywhere. You've got to be hungry. You've got to grind. You've got to get after it. So you convince yourself that staying up late to finish your edits and waking up early to throw together some last-minute marketing makes you a go-getter. But over time, you start to realize something isn't working. You're always busy, but you're not always booked. And that's the paradox of the hustle trap. It tricks you into thinking that constant motion equals real progress. But activity doesn't always mean achievement. Hustling without a strategy is just glorified guessing. In the early days of my real estate media business, I was deep in this trap. I did everything I could to generate business. Emailing, texting, calling, posting, driving to open houses, you name it. I said yes to everything. I bent over backwards for flaky agents, did spec shoots for free, and offered crazy low pricing to get a foot in the door. And it worked, sometimes. I'd get a quick influx of shoots, feel a wave of relief, and convince myself I'd figured it out. But then it would slow down again, and I'd be right back where I started, tired, confused, and wondering what I missed. There was no consistency, no momentum, no leverage. Just a repeating cycle of working harder and hoping it would all shake out. What I didn't realize back then is that hope is not a strategy. And in a business like this, where the margins are tight, the volume matters, and the competition is only getting louder, random acts of marketing will not sustain you. They might get you out of a slump temporarily, but they won't create the kind of business that gives you peace of mind. Because peace doesn't come from hustle. It comes from predictability. You shouldn't have to scramble every month to figure out where your next clients are coming from. You shouldn't have to base your business on the whims of Instagram's algorithm or whether a past client happens to refer you this week. That kind of chaos leads to burnout, not growth. And it's not just you. Almost every media pro I've worked with has experienced this. They're doing everything right by conventional wisdom, posting content, being active online, delivering great work, but they're still stuck in that unpredictable cycle. Why? Because they don't have a system. They don't have a way to guide a stranger from first touch to booked shoot in a structured, repeatable, automated way. They don't have nurture workflows. They don't have a real referral strategy. They don't have a defined customer journey. What they have is hustle. And while hustle might get you off the ground, it will never get you to cruising altitude. Let me be clear, I'm not against hard work. In fact, I believe it's essential, especially in the early stages. But if your entire business depends on your ability to outwork the chaos, you're building a machine that breaks the second you step away. That's not a business. That's a trap. Real marketing, the kind that builds momentum, attracts the right clients, and keeps them coming back, starts when you trade in the hustle trap for a real plan, a system. And that's exactly what this book is here to give you. But before we get to the system, we need to call out the chaos. We need to name the patterns that keep you stuck and shine a light on the cycle that wears so many good creatives down. Because once you see it for what it is, you can start to break free. And you're not just breaking free from bad marketing habits. You're stepping into a business that can finally support your life instead of the other way around. So if you've ever felt like you're doing all the things but still not getting ahead, this chapter's for you. If you've ever panicked and thrown together a last-minute promo just to get a few bookings on the calendar, this chapter's for you. If you've ever watched another photographer who's not as good as you get more consistent work and thought, what am I doing wrong? Again, this chapter's for you. This isn't a hustle harder book. It's a build smarter book. And it starts by seeing the hustle trap for what it really is, a dead end disguised as dedication. Let's dig deeper. Mistaking activity for strategy. Here's where it gets tricky. When you're in the thick of it, editing late, uploading galleries, sending out emails, tweaking your website, posting on socials, you feel productive. You feel like you're making progress. But if we were to pause for a moment and zoom out, what's actually moving the needle? That's the question most media pros avoid asking, because the answer is often uncomfortable. See, we've been conditioned to believe that busyness is a badge of honor. We equate effort with effectiveness. But there's a big difference between doing a lot of things and doing the right things. Let me give you an example. I once had a coaching client who was constantly doing marketing. She was posting Instagram reels, writing blog posts, tweaking her website, and trying to keep up with the trends. When I asked her how many leads she had brought in that month, she paused. Well, none yet, but I've been super active. Exactly. Super active, zero traction. Because what she had wasn't a strategy. It was a checklist of marketing activities that felt like progress, but didn't produce results. And she's not alone. So many creatives fall into this same trap. You post on Instagram, but there's no strategy for turning views into bookings. You run ads, but there's no funnel or follow-up to capture the leads. You update your website, but you don't drive any traffic to it. These are not bad things, they're just incomplete things. They're tactics without a framework. It's like trying to build a house with a pile of materials, but no blueprint. You might hammer a few things together, you might even build a wall. But without a plan, the structure won't hold. This is why the Pixl Marketing Method starts with strategy first. Before you touch a single post or ad or email, you have to know who you're talking to, what you're offering, and how it all fits into a larger system. Otherwise, you'll keep spinning your wheels, doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. Strategy is what allows you to make better decisions faster. It what allows you to say, this works, let's double down. Or, this isn't converting, let's fix it or cut it. Without strategy, you're left trying to interpret random data points. You have no benchmarks, no feedback loop, no clarity. Worse, you start to doubt yourself. You start wondering if you're cut out for this. If maybe it's just too hard. Maybe that other photographer is just lucky or better or more connected. But here's the truth. They probably just have a strategy. They know who they're targeting. They have an offer that's proven. They have a system that follows up. They've turned chaos into clarity. And that's exactly what we're going to do for you in the next few chapters. Because you don't need more effort. You need more alignment. When every part of your marketing is working together, messaging, offers, lead capture, onboarding, nurture, referrals, you stop scrambling and you start scaling. There's also a dangerous emotional loop that happens here. When you're constantly doing, but not seeing results, your confidence starts to erode. You begin second-guessing your skills, your pricing, your content. You start obsessing over small things like what time to post on Instagram or what song to use in your next reel, because you're desperate to find some kind of edge. But the real issue isn't your timing or your content style. It's that you don't have a clear strategy guiding those decisions in the first place. Let's make it plain. Posting every day without a call to action isn't marketing. Running ads that don't lead to a booking page isn't marketing. Sending one-off emails to a list you never nurture isn't marketing. These are all tactics in isolation. And tactics in isolation are the business equivalent of treading water. You might not drown right away, but you'll never reach the shore either. The most successful real estate media businesses I've seen are not the ones doing the most. They're the ones doing the most aligned things. Every piece of their marketing has a purpose. Their Instagram bio points to a specific landing page. Their offers speak directly to their niche. Their onboarding emails educate while building trust. Their follow-up sequences feel thoughtful, not spammy. And here's the good news. This kind of alignment isn't reserved for the big players. You can create it too. Even if you're a one-person show, you can start thinking strategically. You can stop asking, what should I post today? And start asking, what system can I build today that will bring in leads next month and the month after that? Strategy gives you power. It gives you freedom. It gives you space to breathe. Because when your marketing is doing the heavy lifting, when it's attracting, nurturing, and converting leads automatically, you get to focus on what you do best. Shooting, editing, and serving your clients. You stop living at the mercy of chance and start leading with intention. And here's something else that doesn't get talked about enough. Wasted opportunity cost. Every hour you spend on marketing tasks that aren't bringing in leads is an hour you're not spending refining your craft, delivering an incredible client experience, or building something long-term. It's invisible at first, but over time it adds up. And it costs you not just money, but momentum. Imagine what your business would look like if every marketing effort you made had a clear, measurable return. If every social post pointed to a lead magnet, every email drove engagement, and every new contact was entered into a nurture sequence. That's what a real marketing system does. And it doesn't just create visibility, it creates results. This kind of intentionality is what separates the pros from the hobbyists. The pros have clarity. They know who they're for and what they're offer and how to guide people through the journey from stranger to superfan. And clarity creates confidence. You stop second-guessing everything. You stop changing directions every other week. You stop waking up in panic mode. You get to build. We're not done breaking down this pattern yet. Next, we're going to talk about what happens when the pipeline dries up completely and the panic sets in. When the panic sets in. This is the part no one talks about on social media. You're checking your calendar, and for the first time in months, it's empty. Not light, empty. You followed all the advice. You've delivered great work. You've even gotten a few shout-outs from happy clients. But now, when you need it most, the phone's not ringing. The bookings aren't coming in, and the uncertainty starts to creep in. At first, it's quiet. A subtle background worry. Wonder if things are just slow right now. But then a few more days pass. No new emails, no texts. You post to Instagram and barely get a like. You reach out to an old client and get ghosted. Suddenly, your confidence is gone. You're not thinking about growth anymore. You're thinking about survival. This is when the panic sets in, and it leads to what I call marketing whiplash. You go from being calm and confident to frantic and reactive in the blink of an eye. You're up late editing and stressing. You throw together a last-minute offer. You drop your prices. You post the same video 3 times with different hashtags, hoping something lands. You DM people who didn't ask to be pitched to. You feel like you're working harder than ever, but you're not getting traction. Worse, you start to resent your business. You question if this is worth it, if you're cut out for this. You start looking at other creators who seem to have it all together and wonder what they know that you don't. And here's the honest truth. It's not that they're better than you. It's not that their content is flashier or their gear is newer. It's that they've built a machine that keeps working, even when they take a day off. See, panic marketing isn't just stressful, it's damaging. It erodes trust with your audience. When someone sees you offering a discount every other week, it tells them that your pricing is flexible and that your service isn't in demand. When your messaging is inconsistent, when you disappear and reappear with the same, "Hey, I'm available" post, it doesn't build confidence. It creates confusion. People don't buy when they're confused. They buy when they trust you. But in panic mode, Trust is the first thing that goes out the window because everything you do comes from a place of urgency, not service. And your audience can feel it, even if they don't consciously know what's going on. Let me give you an example. There was a time early in my media business where I had a really strong month. I was booked solid for weeks, running from shoot to shoot, barely keeping up with edits. I told myself, this is it. I've arrived. So I let off the gas. I stopped following up. I didn't send any nurture emails. I didn't check in with past clients. I didn't run any campaigns. I was just riding the wave. And then the wave ended. I remember looking at the upcoming week and realizing I had nothing booked. Zero. The same agents I had been working with were now posting listings with media from someone else. My name had slipped from their mind and I hadn't done anything to stay in front of them. So what did I do? I freaked out. I posted a limited time offer discount on Instagram. I emailed a batch of past clients with a rushed message. I sent DMs that made me cringe later. And the worst part? It didn't really work. I may have gotten 1 or 2 small bookings, but the damage was done. And that's when I realized if your marketing only kicks in when you're desperate, it's already too late. Real marketing isn't reactive, it's proactive. And that's where most real estate media businesses break down. They don't have anything happening between the bookings. They think great work will speak for itself. The agents will just remember them. That word of mouth will carry them forever. But it won't. Not because you're not good, but because people are busy. Your clients are not sitting around thinking about you. They're managing deals, chasing leads, trying to get offers accepted. If you're not consistently showing up, someone else will. The solution to panic marketing isn't more hustle, it's preparation. You need systems in place before the slow season hits. You need workflows that are always running in the background, checking in with clients, re-engaging old leads, delivering value consistently. And that's what the Pixl Marketing Method is designed to do. We're not here to create more noise. We're here to create momentum, the kind that builds over time and becomes unstoppable. So you never have to post out of panic again. So you can walk into any week with clarity. So your business doesn't just feel like a job you own, but a machine you're running. We're almost ready to dive into the system that makes this all possible. But first, there's one more pattern to break down. What happens when a client disappears and you just let them? That's what we'll unpack next. The turning point. Everyone hits their breaking point differently. For some, it's a calendar so empty it's physically painful. For others, it's a burnout so intense they start fantasizing about quitting entirely. For me, it was that gut punch moment when a former client saw me at an event and said, "Oh wow, you're still doing this?" I remember smiling and saying something polite, but inside I was stunned. Still doing this? I had done 5 shoots for that agent. She'd raved about my work, but I hadn't followed up. I hadn't stayed in touch. I had let her forget me. That moment shook me. Not because she meant any harm, she was being genuine, but because it was the clearest evidence I had that I wasn't running a business. I was freelancing at scale. I was showing up when people remembered me, and I was invisible when they didn't. And the worst part? It wasn't my work that was holding me back. It was my systems, or more accurately, my lack of them. That moment became my turning point. I went home and looked at everything I was doing. Every offer, every post, every inbox thread. I stopped focusing on trying to look busy and started asking better questions. How do I make sure every new lead hears from me without me having to remember? How do I make every client feel like a VIP from the moment they book? How do I create a system where the right agents are always finding me? That's when I realized I didn't need more tactics. I needed a method. And that was the beginning of what would eventually become the Pixl Marketing Method. I didn't invent anything groundbreaking. I simply applied timeless marketing principles to a modern real estate media business. I stopped reinventing the wheel every month and started building assets that would work long after I set them up. An onboarding sequence that welcomed new clients and educated them on how to work with me. A follow-up sequence for leads who didn't book right away. A Google review request flow that ran on autopilot and built massive social proof. A referral program that felt natural, not forced. A set of offers designed to engage different types of agents, new, seasoned, busy, high volume. And then I layered on automation. Not the kind that feels robotic, the kind that creates consistency, the kind that makes your business feel polished, professional, and proactive. Because the truth is, no one will care about your business more than you do. But that doesn't mean you have to carry every part of it on your back. Systems carry the weight. Once I had mine in place, everything changed. I stopped wondering where the next booking would come from. I stopped panicking when a client went quiet. I started building momentum. And momentum is what every real estate media business truly needs. It's not about chasing every lead. It's about creating a flywheel of marketing, experience, and reputation that spins faster over time. The better your systems, the more efficiently that flywheel turns, and the more your business grows with less effort. So if you're reading this and realizing you've been stuck in the same cycle for too long, this is your turning point. It doesn't have to stay this way. You can build a business that works for you, one that you're proud of, one that supports your life instead of running it. But it starts with a decision to stop relying on hustle and start building systems. And that's what the rest of this book is about. We're about to walk through the 9-step framework that powers the Pixl Marketing Method, a system you can install in your business step by step that helps you attract the right clients, retain them long-term, and grow with confidence. No more guesswork, no more feast or famine, no more hoping someone remembers you. You got to build something better. Let's get to work. Thanks for listening to the Pixl Marketing Show. If you're ready to go from random acts of marketing to remarkable results, grab your free copy of the Pixl Marketing Method at pixlmarketingmethodbook.com. If this episode helped you, share it with another real estate media business owner. Make sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Until next time.